Why did I choose to come here? I could get in. You have to understand, things were a lot different in the 70s around here. So I had not done so well. I'd gone to Auburn, I'd flunked out of Auburn, and then I was kind of rambling around. Vietnam was going on, so was I going, was I not? We were kind of, it was pretty turbulent times back in the 60s, and so the unique reason, and the reason that I came here was because I was close to New Orleans.
I didn't know where I was going to go to school, but after my junior year of high school, USM had a program called Springboard, and I went to high school across the river in Petal, and you could come after your junior year of high school and take some college classes. So I did that after my junior year of high school, and I thought, this is good, I like this. So I applied for early admission that fall, and I was, I guess, what you would call dual enrollment. I still went to high school, but I drove across the river each day in the afternoon and took classes at USM and kind of just stayed with it after that.
Well, I decided to attend Southern Miss because it was an excellent university, it was close to home, and it was affordable. I mean, I am one of 5 kids, so I knew that I had 3 siblings following right behind me. And then also USM has a wonderful honors college, and I was accepted into it as one of 40 freshmen when I enrolled. So I knew I could get such a wonderful education without leaving the state.
You know, this is actually a little bit of an embarrassing story. I grew up a fan of another school in the state, but when I was coming out of high school, my original plan was I was going to come to Southern Miss for a couple of years, get some classes out of the way, and then transfer up. But once I got here, I saw the light and realized that this is where I needed to be. So it didn't take very long after I arrived at Southern Miss to realize that I had no interest in going to get my college degree anywhere else.
Well, I decided to be the black sheep in the family because my parents went to the University of Alabama, and my aunt and uncle, and it was a family tradition. My grandmother, the late Ruth Katz London, went to the Mississippi Normal School for teachers, and she reminisced about the turn of the century and her classes there. And so I was exposed to the University of Southern Miss in other ways, as well as growing up in the family business and being part of the community.
Randy Butler, the great Randy Butler, who was D-line coach and was here for many years, tight ends coach. He recruited me coming out my senior year, and he's really the only coach that really recruited me from the beginning, and everyone else was kind of late. And so that's how I ended up coming here. It's his consistent and encouraged me not to go on my visit to the Burgundy team on the other side of Mississippi.
And we worked that entire summer on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And then we made a transition down there from a folk group to a kind of folk rock group, because that was the summer of Sgt. Pepper, and we learned the whole thing. And so when we came back here, we were a Sgt. Pepper copy band, but we didn't have any uniforms, so we wanted to look like the Beatles, you know. We'd move into this house, and we'd paid 1 month's rent and stayed, and so that's a long story. But it was across the street at that time. The drama school had their costume department in this warehouse across from us. So again, we went in one night into, I was dating a girl who was a drama student, and she had a key. So we went in and we found enough stuff to look like those Sgt. Pepper costumes, which we borrowed from the university. And we went back to New Orleans and played, and then we played the whole next year that we played there and back here, as we were the best Sgt. Pepper cover band with our borrowed uniforms, which we did at the end of it take and turn back in. So, but we broke into the costume department and stole the uniforms and took them to New Orleans. So there you go.
The cumulative experience that I had at USM, I learned how to learn, which I think is very important, and it's served me well as I've gone on and been an entrepreneur and developed business plans and started businesses in very diverse industries. The basis of what I had here of learning how to learn has served me well.
Well, I was a journalism major, so obviously I was involved at the student prints, working on the newspaper. And I also participated in a lot of activities at the Catholic Students Organization, the St. Thomas Aquinas Newman's Club, and then a lot of the honors programs on campus. But I was putting myself through college, so I was also busy off campus at working at the Hattiesburg American for a while, also at WHSY Radio, working on the Gulf Coast at the Daily Herald, and then later WLOX TV. So I was busy. My advisor, the late journalism professor, Dr. Gene Wiggins, who really, I think, had the biggest influence on me. First of all, he was just a wonderful instructor and a friend. He taught me not only the basics of journalism, but I also learned so much from his media law class, because there it really drove the point home to me that when being a journalist, you have to uphold the highest degree of professionalism.
Well, you know, I really tried to take every advantage of every opportunity that I could when I was an undergraduate here. So I was very involved as a student, participated in a whole lot of activities, including Sigma Chi, of course, which was probably my top organization for engagement. Was also very involved with the IFC, what was then the ASB, the Associated Student Body, which is today the Student Government Association, as well as a number of other things. So I tried to take full advantage. There were so many of them, so many incredible memories. I have to say that one of the top, though, was the opportunity to intern on the Hill with Trent Lott. I was in DC for 2 months, a truly life-changing experience. I may be the one and only Southern Miss alum, I haven't fact-checked this, by the way, to have run for ASB president twice and lost both times. So I don't know what that says about me. Maybe what I lack in popularity or political savvy, I make up with persistence or just a lack of understanding of reality.
Well, I tried to play tennis every day if I could, although it interfered a little bit with my study habits. I spent half the time on the tennis court, half the time in the Cook Library, and as much as I could at the office, working as much as I could. So my time was strapped. I was volunteer with my wife's sorority, Pi Beta Phi, as a Big Brother airman, so I volunteered a lot of activities, including the homecoming activities like we're celebrating this weekend. I would be remiss if I did not mention swimming class. That's where I met Laurie and Coach Giles' swimming class, water safety instruction in the early 80s. One other, just being involved in the football program, attending games. Back then it meant Reggie, Sammy, Lewis Lips. Coach Collins did a wonderful job recruiting and made our experience fun in the early 80s at football games, just like they are today.
I would say the cookouts that we used to have at Van Hall. We didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Facebook. So we used to take up $5 a player, go get chicken wings, hot dogs, hamburgers, buns, and we used to cook out back. And Burns, who was at the time, had a 12 to 15 foot python. He would lay a snake out on the lawn while we were barbecuing out back, and people would just come over and eat and break bread and really just fellowship with the guys. That is probably one of the funnest memories that we had, is spending time at Van Hall.
Well, there's a great saying, you know, I come from a Creole culture, and oblige oblige, which means, you know, you give back. And if you're lucky enough to do what I've been able to do, in everything you give back to, the things that are meaningful to you. And it's interesting that people celebrate the times when, as a performer, as an artist, when it was all happening, few people knew who you were. When you become a celebrity, everybody knows, and everybody's got a story. That's just the way it goes.
Well, I currently serve on the USM Foundation Board of Directors, and I've previously served on the Foundation and both the Alumni Association Board of Directors. I've been blessed that the businesses that I've started have been successful. My family and I have chosen to give back to USM in several ways. We feel strongly about providing opportunity to those students who may need some help to attain their goals. We've established several scholarships and funded the startup and continuation of the healthcare marketing program in the business school, as well as providing funding to USM in several other areas.
Well, I've had several opportunities to interact with the journalism program at USM since graduating. In 2005, after Hurricane Katrina, I did 2 documentaries on my hometown base, St. Louis's recovery from the hurricane, and I came to USM and spoke to the students and showed one of the documentaries in a really nice premiere event. It was a lot of fun. Then in 2010, I wrote a book about base St. Louis's recovery, Rising from Katrina, and I came to the campus, did some talks about it, and book signing. And I'm also a member of the advisory board for the School of Mass Communications and Journalism, and so I've participated in different events, coming to campus, speaking with students in their journalism classes, and so it's a really great opportunity to interact with faculty, staff, and students. If
I had to single out one thing that sort of gives me the most satisfaction, it's probably the Southern Miss to the Top cheer. You know, now the Southern Miss to the Top, the name of the fight song was Southern to the Top. We decided that we needed to evolve that and have something that was our own. And I've got to share credit with Walt Denton, who was a big part of that. And then I was amazed, absolutely amazed by how it caught on and has just become part of the fabric of the university. And obviously that's something that's very satisfying. And then of course, I met Christy as an alum, so you know, she's here with us tonight, so I have to make sure that everyone understands that was a very important part of my alumni experience at the University of Southern Mississippi, was meeting my incredible wife, Christy Pierce.
I've been involved from instructing economic development class with Dr. Miller, and I have been instrumental in receiving an intern from the business school, and anything else I can be involved with as far as athletics and any other programs that tie into what we do best.
You know, I've came back and I've been honorary on the field a couple times, but I served on the board with the foundation, and so going and doing that has been very helpful to understand the, I guess, behind the scenes deal, and going to the bowl game and try to participate in it. I joined the Circle of Champions, and so being able to do that, I think, has allowed me to stay connected with the people here and come to the games, home games. I have a son that plays here now, so it's always fun now to come back and give me even more reasons to come back.
It means that I'm old, because you don't induct anybody young. So you have to. That's the reality of it. It's an honor, and it's kind of neat because to look at who's in there, and I'm very honored by that. And I'm glad that I did something that helped bring a little light on what you guys do every day.
I was really surprised when I was told that I was chosen for this honor. There's so many people who are much more deserving than I, but it's truly a great honor to be chosen for this.
Well, I was just so surprised to be honored this way because I just love the education that I got at USM. I felt comfortable from the first moment that I set foot on campus. It just was the right fit for me. I always felt like I was part of a family there, and a family that really cared about me. So I'm just so thrilled that, you know, that the university feels that I've represented them well. I've always been very proud of attending USM, so I think it's really great that the university is proud of me too.
First, let me say it's an absolute incredible honor. One of the most significant honors that I'll ever have in my lifetime. It means so much because of the amount of time and energy that I've invested into the institution. I love this place. I get frustrated with it from time to time, but I absolutely love it. And so this is obviously a significant, really significant honor for me.
Unequivocally, I would say that it means more than anything else that I've been recognized with today. And I would say being involved with friends and peers and mentors is priceless.
It means a lot. It means that people respect the way you've carried yourself. It's an honor, most of all, to be inducted with some of the great people that have been inducted before me, whether it's Brett Favre and some of the other guys that went in. But, you know, it means that people have watched you, and whether you know it or not, they've paid attention to how you've carried yourself. And so to be able to do that, it means that I've done one thing right by carrying myself in a way that made it an honor to represent Southern Miss, to represent my family, my name, which is really at the end of the day, all you have is your name and your word. And so it means a lot that I'm here to sit and interview with you and give the people that have kind of molded me and gave me the fondest memories, whether it's the players, the coaches, the teachers, all the staff members that were here that were so great. And so all of that means that they did a good job, and I sit here by myself, but I carry those people with me.
Southern Miss to the top.
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 Southern Miss to the top.